Our story begins not in Japan, but in a small town in Ohio, 2019. A man named Daniel Cruz, 24 years old, a self-described retro game collector, is browsing a flea market on a Sunday morning. He's looking for old SNES cartridges, maybe a loose copy of Earthbound if he's lucky. And then he sees it, sitting in a cardboard box between a broken VCR and a water-damaged copy of Reader Rabbit, a grey cartridge. No label, no markings, just that single red sticker. Do not play after midnight. He pays the vendor $1 for it. He takes it home. Now, Daniel ran a YouTube channel at the time, about 4,000 subscribers. He documented his retro game finds, did the occasional review, nothing big, nothing unusual. He filmed himself plugging the cartridge into his Super Nintendo that evening. That video, now, has 11 million views. Not because of what the game looked like, because of what happened to Daniel 3 weeks later. But before we get there, let's talk about what was actually on the cartridge. When Daniel booted it up, the screen went black for almost 40 seconds, longer than any normal load screen. He almost thought the cartridge was dead. Then a single line of white text appeared, centered on the screen. "I see you, Daniel." He laughed it off on camera, he said, and I'm paraphrasing. "Okay, that's a cool little trick. Probably reads the system clock or something." But here's the thing. His name was never entered into the game. There was no name entry screen. There was no save file. There was nothing on the cartridge that should have known his name. The game had followed look, on the surface, like a standard 16-bit RPG, a top-down perspective. A small character walking through a village, pixel art, chiptune music. But the music. Collectors who have since analyzed the audio files describe it as wrong. The notes are arranged in patterns that feel almost deliberately uncomfortable. Intervals that the human ear instinctively rejects. Some people reported feeling nauseated within minutes of listening. One audio engineer who studied the file said, and I'm quoting directly from his forum post, "It's like whoever composed this understood music theory specifically well enough to violate it in the most psychological effective ways possible." The village in the game was a perfect recreation of Daniel's hometown, street names, building layouts, even the flea market where he'd found the cartridge, rendered in pixel art accurate down to the position of the parking lot. Daniel kept playing. Over the next 2 weeks, he streamed the game 4 times, each session longer than the last. His chat was going insane. People were doing their own research in real time. Someone in his stream identified the village layout within the first hour. The game had no traditional objectives, no enemies in the conventional sense. You simply walked, explored, and occasionally the white text would appear again. Messages like, "You look tired, Daniel. You shouldn't have picked me up. Do you remember your sister?" That last one made Daniel stop streaming abruptly for over an hour. When he came back, his face was different. He didn't address the message, he just kept playing. His sister had died in a car accident when Daniel was 17. He had never mentioned it on his channel. There was no public record of it that anyone could find. By the third week, people who knew Daniel in real life started posting in his community tab, in his Discord. They were worried. He wasn't sleeping. He told his roommate he kept hearing the game's music, even when the console was off. He started leaving the TV on static at night because, in his words, the static drowns it out. He cancelled 2 scheduled streams with no explanation, and then, on a Tuesday night, at approximately 2:17 a.m., he went live unannounced. The stream was 38 minutes long. For the first 30 minutes, he said nothing. He just played. The game had progressed to a part none of his viewers had seen before. The village was empty now, every building dark, and his character was walking towards something at the edge of the map, a structure that hadn't appeared before. It looked like a house. It looked like his house. At the 31-minute mark, Daniel spoke for the first time in the stream. he said quietly. "It knows where I sleep." And then he reached the house in the game. The door opened on its own. Inside, there was a room, and in the room, there was a bed, and in the bed, there was a pixelated figure lying down, and above the figure, in white text, "This is where it ends, Daniel." He turned off the stream. He was found the next morning by his roommate, sitting in front of the TV. The console was off, the cartridge was on the floor. Daniel was physically unarmed, but he didn't speak for 11 days. When he finally did, the first thing he said to his roommate was, "Don't ever ask me what I saw in that room." In the months that followed, Daniel's video went viral. Investigators, both amateur and otherwise, began trying to trace the cartridge's origins. A retro game preservation group managed to dump the ROM and analyze the code. What they found was not what they accepted. The game was built on a heavily modified version of a 1994 RPG engine, not unusual, but buried deep in the code, in sections that should have been empty padding, were thousands of lines of text. Not game dialogue, not developer notes, names, dates, personal details, 43 entries in total. Each one contained a name, a date of birth, a location, and a short description of something private, something intimate, a secret, a loss, a fear. Daniel's entry was number 43. The researchers cross-referenced the names. 12 of the 43 could not be located. No social media, no public records, no obituaries, just gone. Of the remaining 31, every single one reported the same experience. The game knew their name, knew their town, knew something about them that no database could have contained, and every single one reported the music following them, not metaphorically. They would hear it, that wrong, nauseating chiptune melody, in grocery stores, in the middle of the night, in the moments before falling asleep. One woman in the Netherlands described it as like a song that your brain learns and then cannot forget, except you don't want to know the words. The vendor who sold Daniel the cartridge had no memory of acquiring it. He said, and this was documented in a video interview, that he had no idea how it got into his box. He'd never seen it before that morning. The flea market security footage from that day was corrupted. Just that morning, just those hours. The ROM dump was uploaded once to a preservation forum. The post was deleted within hours. The moderator who deleted it posted a brief message explaining the decision. It said only, "I played it. Do not look for this file." He has not posted since. Daniel Cruz still lives in Ohio. He sold his entire retro game collection after the incident, every cartridge, every console. He no longer streams. His YouTube channel is still up, frozen in time, the cursed stream still sitting there with its 11 million views and a comment section full of people asking, "What did you see in the room?" Is never answered. The physical cartridge itself, after the researchers finished their analysis, they agreed it should be destroyed. One of them volunteered to do it. He drove out to a field, wrapped it in a cloth, and smashed it with a hammer. He filmed it. He uploaded the video as proof. In the video, clearly visible in the corner of the frame, on the cloth beside the broken pieces, the red sticker, still intact, still reading, "Do not play after midnight." It's never explained how that's possible. There are corners of the internet where people still search for the ROM, where they post about hearing music they can't identify, music that feels wrong in a ways they struggle to articulate. If you ever find a cartridge with no label, no title, no markings, and a red sticker on the back, put it down, walk away, and whatever you do, don't play it after midnight.